Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. The doorbell rang, pulling my attention away from the TV. Curious, I got up and walked to the door, peeking through the peephole. I couldn't believe she had found me. I thought about ignoring it and going back to the TV, but I figured she wouldn't leave until she got what she wanted. I put on the safety chain and opened the door just enough so we could see each other. "What do you want?" I asked. "To talk to you," she replied. "Didn't the way I left show you that I never wanted to see you again, let alone talk?" I said. "I don't know why you left," she responded. "I came home, and you were gone. There was no note, just all your things were missing." "You can't be serious. How could you not know why? You're crazy." "I told you what would happen if you went through with your plan," I said. "Can I come in?" she asked. I decided to just get it over with, so I unlatched the chain, stepped aside, and let her in. She sat on the couch and asked for a glass of water. As I went to get it, I thought back to the night it all began. I had just come home from work and found my wife, Alice, all dressed up. "I didn't know we had plans to go out." "We don't. I have a date tonight." "A date? With who?" "You don't know him." "Him? A man I work with. Since he recently started working here, hardly many people know him. He requested me to accompany him to Sylvia's birthday celebration because he didn't want to attend alone." "He does know you are married, doesn't he?" "It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen between us. Besides, I don't want to go to Sylvia's party alone, and you won't go with me, so I told him I'd go with him. You understand why I refused to. I detest being around that witch woman with round heels. Additionally, I don't want you to interact with her in any way. Get used to it, Sam. She's been my best friend since the first grade, and I won't turn my back on her just because you don't like her. I don't like her because she has been divorced 4 times, and each time it was because she got caught cheating on her husband. I don't like going to her parties because there are always drugs around. So, you think just because she cheated, I'm going to cheat too just by being around her? Now that you mention it, I think it's pretty likely. And here you are, wearing a little black dress, getting ready for a date with another man. It's clear you're dressed up for him, and I can only think of one reason why you dress like that for him." "That's a terrible thing to say," he replied. "No, it's not," I said. "What did you wear to the last 2 parties at Sylvia's? I'll remind you if you've forgotten." "You wore slacks and a blouse to one and jeans and a sweater to the other. There isn't any doubt in my mind as to why you are dressed like you are for this party. Sylvia has finally talked you into trying someone else. I know from snippets of conversation I've overheard that she has been after you to join in her screw parties for years. I guess she has finally gotten what she's been after. You're wrong. It isn't like that. Easy enough to prove me wrong. Don't go. Stay here with me." "I can't. Tom is counting on me, and he is more important to you than I am. All I can say, Ellis, is that if you go, you are kissing your marriage goodbye. Don't be ridiculous. This won't hurt us at all. Don't wait up," she said as she headed for the door. "Goodbye, Alice," I said as she walked out the door. I think she sensed that I was serious when I said goodbye, and after hesitating for a moment, she left. Did I overreact? I didn't think so. I was close with a lot of the guys in Sylvia's circle, and they told me what really happened at her parties. After the people who didn't want to join in had left, the parties turned into sex parties. I found out that, while Alice didn't participate, she stayed and watched. I also heard that Sylvia would tell Alice to forget about me, saying, "You know you want to join in." And Alice would always reply that she did want to, but wouldn't unless I joined too. My joining in was never going to happen. I'd spent countless hours trying to talk Alice into breaking away from Sylvia and to stop going to her parties, but I could never make it happen because of that BFF relationship. I spent a good part of the evening wondering what I should do. I was thinking divorce, but I really didn't know that Alice would cheat on me. But could I live with her giving her to hell with you? Sam, I'm going attitude. I'd had 7 of what I thought were great years with her. The only bad was her constantly spending time with Sylvia, whom I just could not stand. She was trash as far as I was concerned, and Alice knew it. You might wonder why I didn't just confront Alice if I knew so much about what went on at Sylvia's parties. The reason was simple to me. I needed to know if Alice would actually cheat on me. If she wanted to cheat and I confronted her about Sylvia's parties and her interest in joining in, she might just stop going there and do it somewhere else. If that happened, I might never know. But if she did it at Sylvia's, I had friends there who would tell me. I still wasn't sure what I was going to do when I went to bed that night. The ringing of the bedside phone woke me up, and I wondered who would be calling at 1 in the morning. Hello, I answered. Hello, idiot. Did I wake you up? It was Sylvia. What do you want? I asked. Just calling to let you know your wife has finally found herself a real man. What the hell are you talking about? Just what I said. Alice has found herself a real man who can give her what she really needs. Here, just listen, she said. Reluctantly, I listened as the sounds of intimacy filled the line. And then I heard, "Oh God, yes, take me, please, please hard." The voice was the voice of my wife. I hung up the phone. 30 seconds later it rang again, and I knew who it would be. So I picked up the handset and dropped it on the floor. One of the good things about living in an apartment is that you don't accumulate a lot of stuff because you have no place to put it. I had all that I wanted packed and out in the truck in just over an hour. I was in a motel by 3 and at the bank when the doors opened at 9. I cleaned out all the accounts and then drove over to my job. Told Jake I was quitting without notice and why. He said he understood. Cut me my final check. Helped me load my tools. Told me I could give him as a reference and wished me well. My phone had been ringing since 7 and all the calls were from Alice. I finally turned it off and made a mental note to get a new number. Then I changed my mind. I didn't know if Alice could get the new number out of her cell phone provider or not. I decided to pitch the phone in the trash can and buy a track phone at Walmart. I didn't need to do anything with credit cards since Alice, and I didn't have any joint cards. She had 2 in her name and I had 3 in mine. By 10 I was on the road to a destination I hadn't yet decided on. All I knew was that it had to be miles and miles away from Alice. I ended up in Castle Rock, Colorado, where I found a job in my field and began my new life. If there was going to be a divorce, Alice would have to be the one to file for it. And if she did, she'd find out where I was. After a year, she could claim abandonment as the reason. The only downside was that I might never know. But it didn't really matter since I had no intention of getting married again. 2 years passed, and life was good. I went on some dates, had a friend with benefits, and now this situation came up. I know you heard me when I told you what would happen if you went on that date. You ignored me, left on that date, and I did what I said I was going to do. How did you find me? A very expensive private detective. Why did you bother? You are my husband. The whither thou goest thing and that kind of stuff. How did you come up with the money to pay a very expensive private detective on his secretary's wages? I sold the house. What house? The one I was awarded in the suit. I started to ask what suit and what house, but caught myself. It just didn't matter. Well, you wasted your money and the time it took you to get here because we are done. You did just what I knew you were going to do when you walked out on me to go to that party. And don't bother wasting your time trying to tell me nothing happened. Your witch best friend called me at 1 in the morning and then held the phone to where I could listen to what was going on. Your "oh God, yes, take me, please, hard," came through loud and clear and said it all. She was successful. Maybe I ought to have pursued retribution with greater vigor. I guess I should explain what happened since you weren't there to see or hear about it. I didn't go to that party to hook up with anyone. It was the last thing on my mind. I might have overdressed, but Sylvia asked me to. She claimed she didn't like Todd, but couldn't tell him not to come since the party was open to everyone at the office. So, she asked me to dress in a revealing way to make Todd think he might get lucky. I liked dressing up, so I did. When Todd saw me, he definitely thought he was in for something and stayed close to me all night, almost like he was worried someone else might get my attention. It was a fun party, and I guess the other guys thought I looked pretty good that night too. And I did dance with several guys. Just as the party was breaking up, I started feeling dizzy and lightheaded. Sylvia told me she thought I'd had too much to drink that night, and she had me lie down in one of her spare bedrooms. I don't know how or when it started, but I slowly became aware that I was being made love to. I thought I was home in bed with you until I heard someone say. I looked around and saw Sylvia along with Todd and Ben Grady. I saw several other guys standing around without clothes. One of them, apparently the guy was supposed to be next. You know me, Sam. You know how I get when we make love. I lose it. I become a mere vessel of pleasure. I don't know how many did me before I passed out. I woke up the next morning next to Bob Flanagan. He was leaning on an elbow looking at me. I saw the look on his face and asked, "Just never thought you would cheat on Sam. Hope to see more of you." I promptly slapped him across the cheek, got dressed, and headed to the hospital. I told them that I thought I had been given a date drug. They did the testing and found traces of rohypnol and ecstasy in my blood, and then they called the cops. While waiting for the police, I tried calling you, but you didn't answer. I found out why when I got home and saw that you were gone. When the police spoke to me, I told them what I knew and what little I could remember. The first person they interviewed was Flanagan, and he said he had no idea I was drugged. He didn't think twice about taking me because that's just what happened at Sylvia's parties, and he assumed I knew it and had even watched before. He thought I had finally decided to join in. Flanagan gave the police the names of all the men who had been involved that night. The police suspected Todd was involved, and when they pressured him, he admitted that it was all Sylvia's idea. She believed I really wanted to participate, so she decided to give me a little push. She figured that once the drug wore off, I'd still be into it, and I'd love it and want to do it again. She was right about that. I did love it. But where she ducked up was she didn't pay any attention to the fact that I told her over and over again that I would not join in without you. You had to be on board with it, or I wouldn't do it. Once I was done with the hospital and the police, a policeman drove me home, and I found out why I never got an answer when I tried calling you. I broke down and cried for 2 days, and then I got an attorney and sued everyone who had been at that party and who had done me. Most of the suits were thrown out because they all said the same thing Flanagan had said. But the suits against Sylvia and Todd were valid because the two of them had conspired against me. I won my suits, but Sylvia had nothing but her house, so I was asked if I would settle for it. She still owed $30. She isn't on it. But with what I got from Todd, I was able to pay it off, and then I sold it. Once I had the money from the sale of the house, I hired the private detective, and here I am. And you wasted your money on the P. And the time it took you to get here for what? To get us back together. I love you and belong with you. You would have been smart to have spent your money on an attorney to get you a divorce. You could have used abandonment as grounds. I don't want a divorce, Sam. What you want or don't want doesn't matter to me anymore. Alice? I didn't do it willingly, Sam. I was drugged. But you did willingly walk out the door, even after I told you that if you left, our marriage would be over. You ignored me and left anyway. The way I left should have made it clear that coming here was a waste of time and money. I have to be here if we're going to fix this. You're not listening to me now, just like you didn't listen when you walked out on me. Pay attention. Alice, I don't want you. You can't fix this because I don't want to. Emphasis on the do not. Want to get back together with a woman who could do what you did. Damn it, Sam. Can't you understand that I did not do it of my free will? I was drugged. You are the one not understanding things, Alice. It isn't what happened at Sylvia's, although I did expect it to happen, and I warned you it was likely to happen. It is what you did before you walked out the door to go to Sylvia's. It was the total disrespect for me you showed before leaving for your date. You don't be ridiculous. Sam, this won't hurt us at all as you walked out that door to go on a date with another man killed any of us that could have been. Now, please leave. I need to get ready for dinner. I'm hungry. I'll eat with you and we can talk. I'm going to convince you that you are wrong when you say we can't put things back together. Her words hadn't even faded before the front door opened, and an extremely good-looking blonde walked in, calling out, "I'm home." "Babe, what's for dinner?" she asked. Then she noticed Alice and asked, "Who is this?" "This is Alice. I've mentioned her a couple of times. Alice, this is Beverly." Beverly surprised Alice by walking over, giving her a hug, and saying, "Thank you for sending Sam to me." Then she turned to me and asked, "What's for dinner?" "I thought we'd go out. I made reservations at Angelo's." "I'll go change." "Nice meeting you," Beverly said. "Alice, maybe we can get together sometime and compare notes." And then she headed for the bedroom. "You need to be leaving now." "Alice, I have to change for dinner." "Does she know you are still married?" "She does." "You need to let her know I'm going to fight for you." "Sam, get real." "Alice, for you to fight for me, you would need to spend time with me. And that just isn't going to happen. Get a divorce and find yourself another man. And when you do find him, don't pull the shit on him that you pulled on me." There were tears sliding down her cheeks when she said, "Damn it, Sam, why can't you understand that I did not cheat on you? I was drugged. So what? You had to be there in order to be drugged. And that is the point. I told you not to go. I told you when you opened the door to leave that if you left you were kissing your marriage goodbye. You ignored me. You left, so our marriage is over. It's that simple. Now, please go. I have a dinner date to prepare for. I'm not going to divorce you. Sam, you need to tell your girlfriend that she'll never be able to marry you." "She can't marry me. She's already married and in the same situation as I am." "Her husband won't give her a divorce, and she's not going to waste money trying to get one. I'll leave, but not too far. I can't win you back from a distance, so I'm moving here. I'm going to get you back." "No, you're not. Ellis, I've told you this many times, and you need to understand I really mean it. I don't want you. Now go." She was crying, but she left. Bev came into the room looking radiant. "Why aren't you ready?" Decided not to go. "No, it just took longer to get rid of her than I expected. She should be gone for good. I made it very clear that I want nothing to do with her." "That's good because I don't intend to let you get away from me." I smiled at that and said, "Give me 10 minutes and I'll be ready to go." Second story. I want to share a crazy story that happened to me recently and hope it helps others. Here's the background. I was in a long-term relationship 5 years with my ex, whom I'll call Jake. Things seemed fine until I noticed some strange behavior. For a few months, Jake was secretive with his phone and kept working late. My gut told me something was wrong, but I wanted to trust him. A week ago, while Jake was in the shower, I saw a text notification on his phone from someone named Megan. My heart raced, so I looked into it. I found a bunch of flirty messages and plans to meet up. When Jake came out of the shower, I confronted him with screenshots. His face went pale as I showed him the proof. He tried to downplay it, saying it was just flirting and meant nothing. Here's where it gets even crazier. I reached out to Megan, and she was just as confused as I was. She found out Jake had lied to her too. He never mentioned he was in a serious relationship. They had only met a few times, but she thought they had a future together. We realized we were both deceived by the same guy. Megan and I decided to confront Jake together. When we showed up at his apartment, his reaction was priceless. He tried to act calm, but you could see the panic in his eyes. We had a long talk, and both of us told him how his betrayal hurt us. To my surprise, Megan was really supportive, which I didn't expect. So, my takeaway is to trust your instincts and not let anyone make you doubt yourself. I've learned to value my own self-worth, and it feels great to take back my power. Jake has tried to contact me since, claiming he's changed and wants to talk, but I'm done with the drama.